What's up, everyone? Welcome into Fantasy Football Office Hours, a special Wednesday edition because tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I'm Simon, joined as always by my co-host Joey. Right? What's up, Joey?
You know, things are good. Things are good. But I'm going to be honest with you, Simon. I gave you like 5 days notice to go get a Hawaiian shirt, and you have disappointed me once again. I don't want to be your friend anymore. I don't want to be on the show with you anymore. But I guess I got to get through this one. So
I'm with Joey on this one, man. Like, this is kind of messed up. Like, we were talking about it before the show a little bit, but like, it's been a lot longer than how many days you said? I don't know. You gave him notice, but he's had 6 months. Like, last time we made this a big deal, Simon, if I remember correctly, you were saying like yourself, I need to go get one. I'm going to go get one soon.
I need
know?
My biggest problem has been like, I haven't been able to find the right one.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't been, and I know that's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. And you know what? It's not an excuse because I made the right one, baby. I got my homemade Hawaiian shirt on underneath.
I'm gonna allow it. I'll allow it. Okay,
Pretty good, right?
Okay.
Pretty good.
I kind of almost wish you cut it down the middle and like added your own buttons or something.
Yes.
No, don't do it. No, don't do it.
Yeah.
Now
That's actually perfect.
Now it's hot, right? Now we got the beat. That worked out so much better than I thought it was going to.
Way too well, Simon. Like, way too well. Like,
guys, joining us right now, the Hawaiian shirt man himself, the man who inspired me to make this shirt, is our great friend Josh Fewster, here to help answer your questions today. Josh is a content creator over at the 33rd Team FB. And Josh, we are so excited to have you on today for this special Wednesday pre-Thanksgiving edition of Office Hours.
It's like homecoming. This is wonderful.
You just made it so much more special, Simon. This is good. This is good. I'm glad to be here. Fantasy's been fun this year, though. I have some good leagues. I got some bad leagues, but
my leagues, I feel like, are either like 8 wins or 2 wins. Like my teams are like on opposite ends of the spectrum right now. We got some people in the chat excited to see you, Josh. JL in here, Josh, and we got Toronto Dave in the chat.
Dave, what's up, my man?
How you doing? Dave, with the trading makes fantasy fun.
It does. Trading does make fantasy fun. I haven't used it as like a tagline as much, but whenever there's like a trade question I've received in the last 4 or 5 months, it's just like, if I can't decide, I'm just like, do it. Trading makes fantasy fun. Just do it. Just freaking do it. So that's kind of where I'm living right now.
We got Albert in here saying hello, everyone. What's up, Albert? Welcome in. And Dame with the hello. What's up, Dame? Glad to have you.
All you people are, oh man, I miss you guys.
And Scamper said, what on earth did I walk into? And Jersh!
What's up, Scampers? Yeah.
Trading makes fantasy fun.
It does.
Guys, if you've never joined us for Office Hours before, or if you have, what we're here doing is answering all of your questions and drinking some high noons. So if you've got fantasy football questions for us, throw them in the chat. We would be more than happy to help you guys out. While we're waiting for a question to come in, do you guys think you could help me out with a conundrum I have been having?
Please.
I got a conundrum myself, so I would love to help you out, but if you don't mind, I would also like some help.
We can help you out as well.
Let's go.
Here's what I got. So my Guillotine League team is freaking stacked at running back now. Like, I've got Joe Mixon, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and Josh Jacobs all starting in my 2 flex spots.
You hope Joe Mixon.
Yep. But I hope Joe Mixon. Yeah, I hope Joe Mixon. What I'm wondering is, in my second wide receiver spot, I've got Stephon Diggs, but then just a clump of wide receiver 2s, I feel like. And every week I'm debating who to play. My options this week are Allen Lazard going against Philadelphia, which I'm scared of that matchup. Those corners are nasty. I've got Brandon Ayuk against New Orleans, which is a pretty good matchup. Not the best, but it's a decent matchup.
He's just been playing so well.
So good. Darnell Mooney against the Jets, and then Rondale Moore against the Chargers as well. So I'm leaning Ayuk in this matchup over Allen Lazard, but that's my conundrum each and every week, is deciding which one of those I need to plug into that spot.
I think that was good, Simon. I think we can cancel out the final 2 names you mentioned pretty easily. Rondale Moore, I doubt he even plays this week. That's and if he does, he'll probably be limited. And then what was the third name you mentioned? There was one.
Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney against the Jets. He could get Sauce Gardner treatment all day long. So I kind of just throw those guys out the window, even though they've both been playing pretty well. So who was the first one again?
Allen Lazard or
Allen Lazard.
Ayuk.
with the Christian Watson kind of breaking out, I still feel like Allen Lazard's the safest wide receiver, but with how good Ayuk's been playing, you got to go Ayuk, right?
You got to go Ayuk. I think I'm going that way. Josh, what question did you have that we can help you out with? And then I see Albert's in here. We'll hit that real quick after that.
So I'm having a lot of trouble with this one because I just keep going back and forth. And, I do put together kind of weekly rankings a little bit, but I'm having trouble deciding between DJ Moore in my flex spot, Ezekiel Elliott in my flex spot. And it's a PPR league. So that in itself immediately makes me think Ezekiel is probably not going to get many catches, blah, blah, blah. DJ Moore with Sam Darnold wasn't so bad last year.
Yeah.
Maybe positive for him, but DJ Moore's been so bad lately.
I think
Sam Darnold sets him over the top.
No, I think Sam Darnold is about the equivalent of a Baker Mayfield start for DJ Moore.
Yeah.
That's how I'm viewing it. Not making any upgrades. I'm not downgrading further, but it puts DJ Moore in like wide receiver 3 territory down there. Zeke is playing the Giants, which is a pretty positive matchup for running backs. And he's their goal line back. He's still taking those important carries. Like I'd go Zeke here. Like I feel pretty confident in starting Zeke, even though Pollard's starting to get more and more of that work. His role's not going away.
Yeah,
I'm nervous for
also
DJ Moore.
Darnell Mooney, by the way. That's another option.
When the turkey day arrives, there are 2 players I think about. It used to be Matthew Stafford, with the Lions, because he always played lights out on Thanksgiving. But I always think the big red pot and the Ezekiel Elliott and hopping into the pot. And there's something special on Thanksgiving with Zeke. So for me, it'd be Zeke because of the red pots.
That's who I have in my lineup right now. There is that little excitement that I'm getting from Sam Darnold, right? Just that little bit of like
change,
maybe, please. So I have DJ Moore in a bunch of leagues, so I'm kind of hoping it pans out regardless. But right now I do have Zeke in my lineup, and that's what I plan on starting.
Josh, I'm a big DJ Moore fan. I also have a ton of him
on
my rosters this year, so it's been rough. Damon here saying unleashing Darnold against Denver is more proof that everyone hates Sam Darnold. Yeah, that's a tough defense to unleash him against.
And that's probably something we should have mentioned. I actually made a video earlier in the week that the Denver Broncos, regardless of who's playing at quarterback. Oh, wait, no. So Denver Broncos are playing the Panthers. Yeah. So they're my favorite defense this week.
It makes sense. We got a question here from Albert. Albert wants us to pick 2 in a full PPR league. David Montgomery, James Conner, and Jeff Wilson Jr. Dude, all 3 of these are like slam dunk starts for me. If you're competing in Baby Bowl, I'm in Baby Bowl. It's basically you set your lineup each week, but you can only use players once. I'm starting both Jeff Wilson and James Conner in the Baby Bowl this week. The Jeff Wilson matchup against the Houston Texans is so sexy. I think he has to be a lock here. Like he has to be a lock. Man, that is tough between the next 2. Josh, what are you thinking here?
Jeff Wilson is a lock. I'm not the highest on Jeff Wilson for the rest of the season, but just the matchup against the Texans is just so fantastic. I also did a video on Jeff Wilson. He was kind of my start of the week because the Texans are giving up like 5 more rushing attempts per game than any other team in the league. So the split with Raheem Mostert is what concerns me in his situation. He's like the only person I'm concerned with like splitting work, but you have to start him. James Conner, I believe he's playing the Chargers.
It's another great matchup. They're bottom 3 against running
These
backs.
are like the 2 best matchups for running backs in the NFL right now, in my opinion. So David Montgomery's the odd man out. I think he gets a lot of work, but Justin Fields might not play. It's looking like he will at this point, but he could be limited. Yeah, David Montgomery's the odd man out here for me.
I think I'm with you, Josh. I think I'm with you because those matchups are too juicy and these guys are all pretty close. Yeah. What about you, Joey?
Yeah, no, I'm in full agreement. I love Connor this week. And you know how much I love my back-to-back players. I've got Wilson and Connor back-to-back my rankings at running back 13, running back 14. And, I've gotten a lot of questions this week about Raheem Mostert as well. And like, oh, well, because Wilson's breaking out. This is a week that I think you can start both of them. I really do.
I agree with that, by the way, Joey.
Thank you.
Again, giving up 5 more rushing attempts than any other team. Like
attempts. That's crazy. That's significant. That's a big chunk.
Crazy. Like they're giving up like 28 or 29 rushing attempts per game. Like it's nuts. Yeah. I'm going off memory right here, so don't quote me on that. But
it's close though. I bet it's close if that's not true. It does feel that way when you watch those games. We got some more people in the chat. Scott Fishing, you're saying, I miss this crew. What's up, Scott? Welcome in.
I miss you, man. Yeah. It's been too long.
Glad to have you in here. And Scott said, at least Denver versus Carolina is a dead heat for the QB battle. Yeah, we got
he's kind of joking, but like it's kind of true, right?
Have you guys followed the TikTok series where the guy has been keeping track of when Russell Wilson will throw more touchdowns than he has restrooms in his house? So he's got 12 bathrooms in his house, and each week they update the number of touchdowns and if he's yet to pass the number of restrooms in his house. It's a pretty funny series. I don't know if he's passed it yet. I missed last week's video, so I'll have to check it out. That's Carlos in here saying the Fewster, the Proudster, the Joshster.
I like
that's pretty much my title. I don't know why you didn't say that when we started the stream, Simon.
Yeah, we right. That was really rude of me. I was so focused on the reveal that I missed your actual title.
Yeah, it's whatever. Next,
we got a question from Grim in here, and Grim, before I get into it, said, well, first we'll answer this question. He said, "I am in a dilly of a pickle," so that's quite a pickle.
Yeah,
Daniel Jones, Kirk.
Honestly, I just love that he said that. So,
or Bryce Perkins or Mike White, who I picked up for depth. Start 2. Oh wait, that's for the. So we have to start 2 of those.
Like you can't start Bryce Perkins.
It's the first 2, right? It's got to be Jones and Cousins, right?
It doesn't I don't care who any of these teams are playing. Like Bryce Perkins could have the best matchup right now. We just haven't seen it, and he's playing on a team with a horrible offensive line, no Cooper Kupp, no weapons. Like there's no way, man. It'd be a glory play if you did start Bryce Perkins over either Kirk Cousins or Daniel Jones. And I know how bad Kirk Cousins was last week. And he's got another primetime matchup again this week, Thursday night he's playing. So that's terrifying. I'm not starting Bryce Perkins over Kirk Cousins.
I'm with you. Joey, what do you think here?
Yeah, it's going to be Jones and Cousins for me. And just take your lumps.
I didn't even notice Mike White.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing is I would like to play Mike White, because it's like he didn't look horrible last year in the small sample size we got. I'm just nervous starting him on the first game back. So yeah, it'll be Jones and Cousins for me. And I see the second part of your question to pick one, and it's for a separate league. And I'd go Danny Dimes over Kirk Cousins. Personally.
Ooh, that's some spice, right?
Kirk Cousins playing New England in prime time.
Yikes.
I am with Joey on that one. Daniel Jones, at least he's got that rushing upside. He has more rushing yards per game than Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts this year.
That's wild.
I really
Vanilla
don't
Vic,
like
am I
either
right
matchup.
Or am I right?
What'd you say?
I said Vanilla Vic.
I'm not going to say it. You said it.
That's what Saquon called him, and
I'm
living for it. I'm living for it. I just love that Saquon is publicly calling him Vanilla Vic.
I'm going to put this out to you guys. It's kind of attached to what Grim's saying. Grim, if Matt Ryan's out there, would you guys start Matt Ryan over Jones or Cousins against Pittsburgh, whose pass defense has not been that good?
Yeah,
it's been so bad. They've been really bad.
And Matt Ryan is at home indoors, and we know how I think about Matt Ryan indoors. Throw last week out, but still, look and see if Matt Ryan's there. If he's there, I would start him over both these guys.
I'm still going Daniel Jones. I think I'm still going Daniel Jones in this one. I like the rushing floor that you get from him. So I'll plug Daniel Jones in, but I'll start Matt Ryan over Kirk Cousins.
Daniel Jones is playing the Cowboys, who completely obliterated Kirk Cousins last week, made him look like he shouldn't even be in the NFL. But to Simon's point, to what we're saying, Daniel Jones upside, rushing upside, I'd play him over Matt Ryan.
Saif had a question for us, wanted to know Chubb and Judy for Stevenson. So in that trade, which side would you prefer? Nick Chubb and Jerry Judy for Ramondre Stevenson. Josh, which side of this are you going to end up on? Oh, and either Cooper or Debo. Oops.
Oh,
I missed
there
that
we go.
Part. So Chubb and Judy for Stevenson and Cooper. Let's call it Amari Cooper. What are you doing here, Josh?
I'm just thinking about the value of Chubb and Stevenson. I'll take Chubb over Stevenson.
Oh, yeah. Especially with the work that Damian Harris got whenever he returned.
That answers the question, I guess. Judy isn't really a factor. Maybe he comes back and is helpful for your fantasy team. So, yes, Chubb and Judy
over Stevenson.
So don't do this. It sounds like you're
Cooper.
Getting Stevenson here. Oh, and
yeah. I missed it too on the first.
I missed it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Cooper and Debo well above Judy for me. I'll take Stevenson and Cooper or Debo. If you made me choose between Debo and Cooper, I lean Cooper.
I agree.
Yes. I would take the
Stevenson
be a lot
of
and Cooper side as well.
Oh my God.
I would keep the Stevenson and Cooper side as well. Mr. Scamper's in here with a question. Says, with Mixon and concussion protocol, need to decide whether to start Singletary tomorrow over him. Contingency play would be Devonta Smith if Joe Mixon doesn't play. So they can either play Singletary tomorrow or wait for Joe Mixon and plug in Devonta Smith if Joe Mixon doesn't play. Joey, what are you doing in this situation?
For 2 weeks in a row, Devin Singletary is my start of the week. And I'm really thinking about going third week in a row with him because he's going against Detroit. Like, that matchup is so juicy for him. For me, it's I don't want to risk Mixon, so I don't even think he's going to start anyways. So Devonta Smith or Singletary is kind of where my head is at right now.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
I think I would go Singletary.
Reminding myself of matchups.
That's a personal, just a pick for me. I really do think Singletary is going to have a third great week in a row. So
I'm going to go Singletary as well here. It's close though. Obviously, if Mixon's playing, you want to play Mixon, but I think Singletary is good enough and has a good enough matchup. And with Josh Allen still recovering from that injury, you can expect Singletary to continue to get goal line work. I'll lean Singletary.
Yeah, Detroit's allowed multiple rushing touchdowns in back-to-back games now too. So,
I think that's where I'm leaning. What about you, Josh?
So my problem is Singletary tends to, just not get work if one team, if the Bills are up and winning the game, Singletary tends to fall off and you give other players work. James Cook, Naeem Hines, they said they want to get more involved. So it's so close between Devonta Smith and Singletary for me, actually. If you made me choose, I might go Devonta Smith. It's half-point PPR. If it was full-point PPR, I would go Devonta Smith. Half-point PPR, it's neck and neck. They're literally neck and neck. I don't think Mixon plays either. So it's really what you think between Devonta Smith versus Devin Singletary. I still slightly lead Devonta Smith, ever so slightly.
I'm glad someone said Smith because I think they're close enough, right? Yeah. Like, I don't think it would have been fair to Smith for all of us to go on the Singletary side right there. He's a good play. I know he's had some disappointing weeks recently. Most of that Philly offense has been disappointing for fantasy the past couple of weeks.
So if Mixon did play, concussions this year, they're very safe. Would you start him over Singletary and Devonta Smith?
Yep. If Mixon's playing, I start him over them.
So I guess that's enough to tell you to start just roll with Devonta Smith there.
Yeah, you have the option, so that's great.
Yeah.
Saif in here was updating us, so they added Keenan Allen in. So now the option is Chubb, Mostert, and Judy for Stevenson, Amari Cooper, and Keenan Allen. I love it, man. Love it. I love it so much. Like,
I don't even want Mostert on my team. That's not true. He probably deserves to be rostered, but this made it better, much better.
That's hot. That is beautiful right there. Carlos in here with a question.
As long as you're getting the ones we're saying 4-4, right?
The Stevenson, Cooper, Keenan
we
side.
want that side. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good clarification. Yeah. Carlos said, how do you guys see Dameon Pierce rest of season with his upcoming schedule? That being said, so I guess we'll hit this question and then we can answer that. Flex 1, Pierce, Connor, or Rachaad White? So Pierce, James Conner, or Rachaad White? So we already know James Conner. They're playing the Chargers. Got a beautiful matchup right there. The Texans are playing the Dolphins, so that's not as juicy of a matchup, but it's not a horrible one either. And then who do the Bucks have this weekend, Joey?
The Browns.
Okay, and the Browns are just as bad as the Chargers at defending the run. They are terrible. So, Joey, I know you love Pierce, but are the matchups enough from these other two guys to maybe bump him?
Here's what I'm going to say. I know I love Dameon Pierce, and I love when someone brings me a question where I have to tell you to sit Dameon Pierce, but I would sit Dameon Pierce or James Conner. I have James Conner one spot ahead. I like the matchup better. I like the game script better for him. However, if Leonard Fournette does not play, Rachaad White for me is a top 12 running back. Cleveland is so god-awful against running backs the last few weeks. I would start Rachaad White over both of these guys. If Fournette does not play. That's the caveat. Just to say out there, though, if Fournette does play, I still like Rachaad White as a play this week.
Josh, which way are you leaning on this? Which of these three backs would you be plugging in?
No, I agree with more or less with what Joey said here. This is an easy Connor over Pierce and Rachaad White. I think it's still a pretty easy Pierce over Rachaad White if Leonard Fournette does play. If Leonard Fournette doesn't play, then Rachaad White jumps over Pierce for sure. I still lean starting Connor over Rachaad White, even if Leonard Fournette's not in the game, with how bad the Buccaneers running game has looked all season. Like, they just haven't been efficient. Now, he'll get a lot of work if that's the case, and maybe he's the pass catching back as well, which I assume he would be. But I would go Connor even without Leonard Fournette. And like, I want to temper expectations with Rachaad White. I fully believe he will be the starter next week, but he's not going to instantly be getting like 70% of the carries. I still think it's going to be an even split between him and Leonard Fournette for the rest of the season. They're both startable, flex-worthy players, but I'm not getting carried away with them. To answer the first part of the question, I'm not that nervous about Dameon Pierce. Yeah, last week sucked, but
he's good.
I know he's good, man.
He passes.
He's good on a bad team. He's good on a bad team. That's the important part. The team sucks, but Dameon Pierce is their guy, and he's good.
He's got two really sexy playoff matchups too. Against one second, was it the Chiefs and the Jags?
Yep. And Jaguars is in championship week. That is in week 17, so that is hot. Mr. Vengeance in here said, so I play a 2-quarterback league, and I have Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, and Justin Fields. But from what it's looking like, Justin Fields probably won't play. What do you guys think? Well, I think Fields isn't playing, so you plug in the other two guys.
That's why you like to have 3 quarterbacks in a 2-quarterback league. If Fields plays at all, I'll start him. I'll still start him over both those guys. If he plays, he might be limited and he might run less. So you got to temper expectations, but I would still start him over both those guys.
I'd be knocking Kirk out of my lineup if Justin Fields plays and start Derek Carr and Justin Fields.
Who's Derek Carr playing again?
The Raiders. I was just looking at this. The Raiders are playing the Seahawks.
No buys this week, you know. Yeah. I would start Derek Carr over Kirk Cousins.
Do you guys think there's a chance Justin Fields gets shut down for the season? I mean, the Bears know what they have in them. Like, why would they want to risk that injury? They're not going to make the playoffs.
I guess there's a non-zero chance, but I doubt it still.
He's still developing. He's still a developing quarterback. You know what I mean? I think there's value in getting him these game snaps.
I hope he develops more. He develops more.
Oh, God.
That'd be nice.
He is becoming one of my favorite players this year. Just like everything he says, everything he does. Like, I'm just loving that, dude. The quote he had when he said, man, like, my legs hurt, but not from the hits I've been taking. Like, he was just like, man, I've just been running so much. My legs hurt. Like, he was just like trash talking, but without trash talking. Justin in here. What's up, Justin? How's it going, my man? He said, yo, guys, a second ago. Said, I need 2 wide receivers and a flex. He's got Cortland Sutton, Michael Pittman Jr., Juju Smith-Schuster, Chris Olave, Treylon Burks, Samaje Perine, Rachaad White, and Isaiah Pacheco. So 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. Josh, what are you thinking when you look at this? It's a pretty good set of choices to be picking from, right?
Yeah. The 2 wide receivers are pretty easy for me. While I love Juju Smith-Schuster when he's healthy and playing, right here I'm going Pittman Jr. and Olave. Even if Juju Smith-Schuster was 100% healthy right now, we knew he was playing, it would become a question. I'm going to go with Pittman and Olave for sure over Sutton and Burks. We don't know about Juju, and it gets closer he gets kind of into the Pittman and Olave territory for me. But I think Pittman has a great matchup against the Steelers. We talked about that. Olave, I love what I've seen from him this year. So now you need a flex. Now it gets complicated. I think if Mixon's out, it's Perine. So no, maybe it's not that complicated. If Mixon's out, it's Samaje for me. If Mixon plays, then it's Juju if he does play. If not, then it's Rachaad White.
Man, I am a little bit like I'm tempering expectations for Samaje Perine this week. That Bengals offensive line, even though it's getting better, like it's looked better the past couple weeks, is still not a good unit, and they're going up against the Tennessee Titans, which have been one of the toughest defenses against opposing fantasy running backs.
Low over under that game too. I think it's like a 42-point over under. So they don't expect Vegas doesn't expect a lot of scoring in the sports books.
I think in that flex spot, if Juju plays, I'm putting Juju in that flex spot. If Juju does not play, then I'm gonna. Man, this is tough. I'm probably going to roll.
You agree with me with the wide receivers?
Oh, yeah, I agree with you on the 2 wide receivers. I agreed with you with Pittman and Olave. I think I'm going to go Juju if he plays, and if he doesn't play, I'll start with Rachaad White because of the great matchup. Joey, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I agree with you on Olave Pittman, but I also have both those guys in a glob with Cortland Sutton. I don't necessarily mind this matchup against the Panthers for him with Russell Wilson.
Cortland Sutton would be maybe in the same tier for me with those guys, but
Yeah.
those two I would definitely pick over Cortland Sutton.
Absolutely.
So maybe they're not in the same tier.
I'm intrigued by Pacheco because CEH at the IR today, but I'm going to go with those three receivers: Olave, Pittman, and Sutton.
CEH wasn't the problem for Pacheco with me whenever it comes to these starts. It's
nice
Jerick McKinnon. It's Jerick McKinnon getting all that third down work. That's the problem. Like,
yeah, but he's never going to get catches, pretty much.
Never.
But 20 carries.
It could happen. Yeah. Justin in here said Chiefs DST playing the Rams or Pats DST playing against Minnesota. We just talked about Kirk Cousins in prime time against the Patriots.
That's actually a really good question. It's a fantastic question. I much prefer the Pats DST as a whole, but I prefer playing against the Rams over the Minnesota Vikings, even though last week, I know, I get it. Minnesota Vikings offense looks terrible. I would go with Pats D.
Pats D.
Kirk Cousins in prime time.
I love a good narrative.
The Chiefs defense is such a good start this week, though. So either choice is good.
This is close. Joey, where are you leaning?
I'll go Pats defense. I mean, they got me some points last week, and it's close enough. Man, I love
Chiefs.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Chiefs.
It's tough.
I'm gonna go Chiefs here, just against this struggling Rams team and Matthew Stafford not playing. Like
Bryce Perkins is like the reason I want to.
You can't get a much better matchup than the Chiefs have. They're going to be scoring a lot of points, which means the Rams are going to be trying to keep up and probably turning over the ball a lot. I just have so much more trust in the Patriots defense as a unit. You know, that's the Chiefs defense might be the right answer.
I hear what you're saying.
I'd start the Patriots defense.
I hear you. It's a riskier play with the Chiefs just because they're not the elite unit, but I just love the matchup so much. Yeah. Carlos in here with the super sticker. Thank you so much, Carlos. We appreciate it, my man. You are the best. Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us. And also, we had a question from Dustin. Said, Josh, rest of the season, whose shirt are you rocking, Simon's or Joey's?
I'll answer this question realistically. It would be Joey's. Sorry, Simon. Yours is a little ripped right here. It's got a little tear.
Right in the middle. It's called a deep V, Josh. It's called a deep
honestly,
V.
Like I would like to throw on Simon's shirt just to see what it looked like. Yeah.
But
rest of the season, it's got to be Joey's just because of the consistency. You know,
you're right. This would be the 1 week play.
Yeah, if it was just for week 12, I would go with Simon's shirt.
Grim fan in here said, I'm omitting Simon on this question for my Survivor League. And the reason being, every week I tell him, Grim, you're still alive, and I got eliminated in week 1. It's incredible that you're still alive
probably
in
not
week
listen
12.
To me, yeah.
Listen to your own advice because you've made it this far. But they need to know your thoughts on Cincinnati this week for the pick. So we mentioned the Cincinnati Bengals playing at the Tennessee Titans at 2.5-point favorites.
I do not love them at all, to be honest with you.
Let us know your other options
as a Survivor pick.
Left?
That I would need to know your other options because I could easily see the Tennessee Titans pulling this one out. I really could.
Absolutely.
So I'm not very confident in the Bengals.
Give us your other teams, and then we'll answer that for you, Grim. Because otherwise, it's a little difficult to answer.
Yeah, they might be your best option. It might be.
Dame wanted to know Michael Carter versus Chicago with Mike White utilizing the check down, fingers crossed.
Which is huge. No, it matters.
It does matter. Or Cordero Patterson versus Washington in half PPR. So, Joey, which one of these two would you be plugging in?
I'm gonna double check real quick. Yeah, it's gonna be Michael Carter for me. In the games Mike White started last year, the 4 games, he checked down to his running backs over 12 times a game. Now Ty Johnson got some of those, but most of them went to Michael Carter. So it's gonna be Michael Carter for me, especially in half PPR.
What about you, Josh?
I'm not the biggest Michael Carter fan. I thought he was a big sell, like right when the Breece Hall injury happened, because people were like, "Oh, Michael Carter, let's go." But it is true. I mean, Mike White or Joe Flacco. I know Mike White's going to be the starter. They've already announced that. But like, if it's not Zach Wilson, Michael Carter's a lot better. Cordell Patterson's been good, but it's been on limited touches where he scored on a kickoff return last week. You know, that's not very projectable. And he's just not getting the touches you love to see. I would go with Michael Carter this week.
Yeah, CPAT. His fantasy value is being held afloat by touchdowns right now. That kickoff return touchdown and then the 2 touchdowns the week prior. Algiers getting more work in this offense. I'm going to roll Michael Carter as well here.
Bears are also fifth best matchup for running backs.
Right. Hi. Scott in here saying, Joey, great job on Sirius Sunday night.
I went on with Brian Drake. He said he ran the week before.
Yeah.
So I guess that's all I do is just ride your coattails.
2 weeks ago. I think two, not last Sunday, not the Sunday before, but the Sunday before that, I think I was on.
He said you were great.
They'd have a little break.
He said I was better, but he said you were great.
I was a little nervous. I just didn't like it's intense. I don't know. I was just like, I was a little nervous.
I pooped 4 times during the day.
Yeah.
Like it was
we're good.
It was nerve-wracking. It was great though. It was so much fun.
Carlos in here has a pretty tough question for us, I feel like. Says, I'm worried about Olave versus San Francisco. I have Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, Treylon Burks, and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Would you start any of them over Olave this week? Josh, are you rolling with Olave in the tough matchup or starting any of these other guys?
Tough matchup, man. San Francisco's defense is so good, but there is no way I would consider any of these options over Olave this week. I just wouldn't. I know. I get it. I get why you're questioning it. I get why you're asking the question, Palmer. Great week last week. Mike Williams, get him out of here. You can't trust it. You got to see it now. It's Olave for sure.
If there was a better Browns matchup, I might be tempted by DPJ, but he's not in like a super plus matchup, right? So I think I'm going to roll Olave as well. What about you, Joey?
Yeah, it's going to be.
Jones is safe. He'll get safe. 4 catches for 50 yards. I'm pretty confident about that.
How weird that he's a safe play.
It is
like he's supposed to be
profiles that. Yeah.
Joe, are you rolling with the safe play in DPJ or are you sticking with Olave?
No, I'm going to go Olave. I would like to get Palmer in there, but I just can't put him over Olave. And Simon, side note, are we going to have like a side bet?
A side bet?
Teams.
Speaking of side bets, real fast.
Oh, shit.
I erased it, but Joey, you and I, we had something written on this board. It's not there anymore, so I feel bad. But it was a half-point PPR. Who had more points per game during the season? And it's Mike Williams versus DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh,
I'm winning that right now.
Okay, are you?
I had DeAndre Hopkins. You had Mike Williams.
I had Mike
that was preseason. We made that. And we didn't even bet. It was a gentleman's bet. But I
thought you were going to bring up the KJ Hamler one, so I'm glad that was.
I erased them. I know we had a couple. I erased them all. So
wow. I mean, I didn't erase any of them.
I do remember that one though. I don't know why. Because we had to touch on it again because we made the bet before DeAndre Hopkins was suspended. It was early in the offseason. And then he got suspended. I was like, Joey, what do we do about this? You're like, just make it points per game. I was like, okay, cool.
Easy enough. Andrew in here wanted to know Brian Robinson or P. Ryan if Mixon is out. So B-Rob or P. Ryan is P. Ryan. Yeah, it's a triple P. Ryan here. And then the second
you
question.
Said you brought up your concerns for P. Ryan though, Simon. So I don't want to dismiss that.
No, but Brian Robinson, we were comparing him against a different caliber of player last time in that flex spot. I'm still rolling with P. Ryan here. Yeah. The concerns don't eliminate that he's going to get the volume, right? Like he'll still get the volume. And there's
pass catching. It scored 3 pass catching touchdowns last week. Only on 4 catches, but
absurd. The next question is, would you start Hollywood if activated over George Pickens in a PPR league? So, Joey, are you rolling with Hollywood if he's playing, or are you going George Pickens?
I don't have Hollywood ranked right now because I fell into that trap last week. So I would,
in Fantasy Pros, I'm sure. Huh?
Yeah, it did. So I'm going to roll with Pickens.
Roll with Pickens. What about you, Josh?
I'm going to start Hollywood.
Okay.
It looks like Pickens is becoming maybe the number 1 wide receiver on this team, but there's not a lot of production just as a whole. Pat Freiermuth might be the number 1 wide receiver on the Steelers right now. I love what I saw from Hollywood before. Kyler's playing. I know DeAndre Hopkins is out, but Zach Ertz is also. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is playing, but Zach Ertz is out. Rondale Moore probably won't play. I like Hollywood.
Dortch is probably out too. Like,
oh yeah.
He missed practice today too. Yeah, jeez.
I think
how exciting has Freiermuth been play the last couple weeks?
Oh, he's good, man. He's the real deal.
So fun.
Freiermuth in Dynasty, but I think he's the number 5 Dynasty tight end for me right now.
Damn, that's pretty high up there. Not Greg Dulcich isn't cracking your top 5 yet.
No,
he needs a couple more good games.
Freiermuth way out of Greg Dulcich, but Dulcich is maybe a top 12 at this point.
He's up there. Thank you so much, Slot Queen Hubby, coming in there. Appreciate it. They've got a question for us. Said, should I trade Devin Singletary for Jeff Wilson Jr.? I also have Aaron Jones and Christian McCaffrey. My team is a playoff lock as of now.
Okay.
So, Josh, would you be trading away Devin Singletary for Jeff Wilson for the rest of the season?
Yeah. When I first heard this, I was like, absolutely. But look, Jeff Wilson's going to split work. Raheem Mostert is going to get involved. So I understand this trade going down. I'd rather have Jeff Wilson, but Devin Singletary might be a little safer. And I know that sounds weird. He's not necessarily a safe running back, but we've only seen 2 weeks of Jeff Wilson on the Dolphins. It's been awesome, but there's going to be, I think there's going to be at least a couple down weeks for Jeff Wilson in the future. I want to mention that, but there will absolutely be down weeks for Devin Singletary as well. I would take Jeff Wilson.
I'm going to go Jeff Wilson as well on this one. Josh, we're agreeing a lot today. Joey, what about you?
We are.
So I really like Jeff Wilson for the next few weeks, but then he hits the playoffs and it gets a little scary. Tough. And that's what I worry about with Jeff Wilson. I would still probably go with him because while Singletary is looking good and his matchups look a little bit better, James Cook is getting a little more involved. And like I said, that Singletary is my start of the week this week. That's because they're playing Detroit. And I just feel like anybody can run on Detroit. Even two backs can run on Detroit. We've seen it happen. So I would side with Jeff Wilson Jr. rest of the season here. But I understand but I love that you can get that in a trade. Well done there. It. And congratulations on making the playoffs.
Lock. That feels good at this point in the season. JP in here has a question for us. Says, should I play Jamar Chase this weekend, limited snaps or not, or Christian Watson?
Listen up. Listen up. Listen up. There are wide receivers out there that I would play over Jamar Chase this weekend. Christian Watson is absolutely not one of them. If Jamar Chase is out there, he could be in limited snaps. He could be a decoy. I'm playing Jamar Chase over Christian Watson for sure.
I think I agree with you, Josh. What Christian Watson's done has been amazing, but it is not sustainable. Like that level of touchdown production is not sustainable. And Jamar Chase is so freaking good that if he's active and playing, I will play him over Christian Watson. But to your point, Josh, like if this was, say, Christian Kirk, even in a tough matchup versus Baltimore,
I would start Christian Kirk.
I'd start Christian Kirk. That's where I am. Like Brandon Ayuk, I might start over Jamar Chase, right? Like, but that's like, around where that line
literally,
is.
That's it. That's it, Simon Fournier. It's like top 24 wide receiver. Like, and there's like probably about 20 to 24 wide receivers I would start over Jamar Chase right now. There's no bye weeks right now. Making Jamar Chase more or less a flex probably in a lot of leagues, but you're probably still starting.
Joey, what are you doing here? Are you plugging Christian Watson in?
So there's few players because my whole thing is if you got a good option for a player coming on their first week of injury, please don't start them. Start your good option.
This is such a borderline one too. Maybe it is.
But there's few people that I would be like, you know what? It's our first week back. Roll him out there. Jamar Chase is one of them. Like if he's on the field, I'm playing him. I can't not play him. If it was with the Hollywood Brown question, like Christian Watson or Hollywood Brown, not knowing with Hollywood Brown, it's an easy Christian Watson for me. But Hollywood Brown's not Jamar Chase.
I think that's fair.
Slot Queen Hubby saying, appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming in with the questions.
My mother's maiden name was Slot Queen Hubby, actually.
Maybe you're related. That's beautiful, Joey. Is that French?
It's Belgian, actually.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. That was rude. Scott in here had a question for us. Scott, what's up, my friend?
What's up, Scott?
In. So give me your thoughts on the Buffalo Bills outlook for tomorrow. I have Singletary, Allen, and Knox tomorrow. Yeah, you're floating pretty. It's a beautiful matchup for all of those players. The Detroit Lions are terrible against running backs, terrible against tight ends.
It's almost like their defense is just terrible. Or
everyone except for Okudah and Hutchinson. Know what I mean? Like they got those guys. Okudah will lock someone down, but outside of that, that's all you got going. So I'm
Detroit
happy
Lions, the worst
guys.
Team against quarterbacks. Let's see. The 15th against running. They're actually pretty decent against running backs. 7th worst against wide receivers and 4th worst against tight ends.
So I did look
per game.
I'm glad you brought up the running backs, Josh, because after Saquon had the poor game against them, I was like, what the hell happened? They're giving up some of the most rushing yards in the league per game. But when you go and look at who they played, they have given up huge rushing games to opposing quarterbacks. So the opposing quarterbacks that they're playing are really making those stats, those rushing stats against the Lions, look way worse than they are against the run. Don't get me wrong. You don't have to be scared of the Lions as a run matchup, but it's not the Browns, it's not the Chargers, it's not the Texans. Like those are slam dunk starts at running back. The Lions, you're just fine starting your running backs against them. It's a totally normal matchup. Patty in here wanted to know. Oh, sorry, Joey. Which one? What do you think about the Buffalo?
I think the Bills are absolutely going to win. I was going to bring up Josh Allen's not had a touchdown in 4 straight games in the second half, a passing touchdown. Isn't that weird?
Not?
No, 4 straight games. And it's not like the Bills have been like leading by 3 touchdowns going in the second half. It's weird.
Devin Singletary, by the way, can also win catching the football, especially if it's a game where the Detroit Lions are scoring a lot. So if that's the case, then I think Devin Singletary's, could be really good if the Detroit Lions are scoring. I think that's important, though.
Does this feel like a Gabe Davis game to you guys?
Yeah. It feels like a Dawson Knox game to me, actually.
Speaking of the Baby Bowl, I've got Dawson Knox as my tight end this week in the Baby Bowl because I love the matchup and I feel like he's just itching for the end zone.
Gabe Davis too, Joey. I didn't want to dismiss that. I feel like it could be both, those kind of, second or third receiver on the team kind of game.
We want a Gabe Davis game, a big one. I want a 2-touchdown Gabe Davis game, and that would be fun on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Joey, Patty wanted to know in PPR, Dak and Schultz or Herbert and Everett. So which side of this are you taking? Dak Prescott and Dalton Schultz or Justin Herbert and Gerald Everett?
I guess it's like a rest of season question.
Is it? Yeah. I don't know if Everett's going to play this week.
Yeah, he's still questionable to play.
Yeah.
Let's assume health and assume rest of season. Which one of these pairings would you want?
For me, I'd rather have Dak and Schultz, honestly. That Dallas offense looks like it's just cooking and ready to go. I put a poll up earlier this week of like who's the best team in the NFC, and if I had to put my money on a team in the NFC right now, man, Dallas looks good.
Joey, what are you doing? Or Josh, too many J names, damn it.
It's an easy Schultz over Everett for me, both for rest of the season and this upcoming week. And it's a pretty easy Herbert over Dak, but it's not like as easy as the Schultz and Everett, which I guess makes me lean Dak and Schultz.
I'm with you guys. It's going to be triple Dak and Schultz, but that feels weird. Just all three of us going against the Herbert side right there.
I love Justin Herbert too.
I feel like he's someone that's going to really fall down draft boards this year when draft season comes around next year.
He's a buy low.
Yeah, and love it. But it's weird. It's like, see him, he might be like the 7th quarterback. And that's like, oh man.
You're talking about
Herbert. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He'll be a value next. Well, I think people aren't that,
he's got the name recognition that it might still prop.
Does he?
Right? Like
I know he does, but does he?
It's like, not Josh Allen, but it's up there. It's up there with the names, I think. Yee wanted to know, I traded away Kamara, Evans, and Olave for Michael Pittman, Stephon Diggs, and Dameon Pierce. Who won? Their other running backs are Kenneth Walker, Etienne, and Barkley. First of all, shout out on your running back values, my man, with Kenneth Walker and Travis Etienne on your team. Joey, where are you going here? Which side would you prefer?
Man, I like the context. That's given. Stephon Diggs for me is the best player in this trade. Yes, he is. Okay, so I'm gonna double check on that. I think Pittman's got better days ahead. I'm really starting to like this Pittman Diggs side. And is it crazy to say I'd rather have Dameon Pierce rest of the season than Alvin Kamara? That's a little crazy. I'm going Pittman Diggs Pierce because of what you've got on the other side of this.
I think Diggs is such an elevation over. I mean, Olave and Evans are good, right? But I would much rather have Diggs than Evans, and then Pittman, while not Olave, Pittman is safe. Like they're relatively in a similar tier, I feel like, and Pierce and Kamara comparable. And that sounds crazy, but comparable. So I think the Diggs over Evans is enough for me to take that side. I'm with you, Joey. What about you, Josh?
I think Josh going on the other side of this.
Is it too close?
It's such a close trade. It's such a close trade. Trading makes fantasy fun. Do the trade regardless. But I go with Kamara, Evans, and Olave myself.
Yeah, I get it. This is a really close one. Jay Wall in here said, "Hello, sexy people. I miss you, Josh." What's up, Jay Wall? Welcome in. Welcome in. Glad to have you here.
Love you, man.
And we got another question in here. This one from Grim. Grim letting us know the other teams they have in their Survivor League available. So the Browns and Bucks playing against each other. So the Browns and Bucks are playing each other. The New York Jets. The Jets are playing the Bears.
They've got a good matchup. Yeah, the Bears.
Simeon.
I like their defense this week.
The Jets isn't.
I like the Jets. I like the Jets more than the Bengals over the Titans so far.
And Buffalo with Detroit, but I think maybe Grim is trying to hold on to Buffalo is what it looks like right there. The Rams are playing
I'm not picking the Rams.
Kansas City. No, you're not picking Kansas City. And then the Raiders are playing Seattle, and I'm not picking the Raiders against Seattle either.
Is this the time to use the Bucks?
I think it's the time to use the Bills. For me.
Unless Justin Fields is out. If Justin Fields is not playing and they're starting Trevor Siemian, I'll go Jets.
I'll go Jets.
But like
so
I
it's
said,
Bucks versus Browns, right? They're playing each other.
They're playing each other.
They're at Cleveland though, so that's where it gets tricky.
I think I would go with Buffalo.
You're burning your Bills at this point.
Let's see. Let's look at who. So Detroit, New England, Jets, Miami, Chicago in Week 16. The Bills don't have a better matchup other than Chicago the rest of the year, in my opinion. In Week 16. So that's I go Bills personally. I would.
I get it. Joey, where are you going?
Bucks or Bills. The Bucks are hot right now, and I don't think they're going to stay that way.
His original question was, should I go with the Bengals over the Titans? So I think the best advice would be, are we taking any of those teams over the Bengals? Right?
Yeah. I think the Titans could easily win this game. So,
and I would go with the Bills. Obvious. I think everyone thinks the Bills are going to win, but I know you're saving them, so I get it.
Dame needs to know one player to drop. DJ Moore with no Peach because Peach is out. Brandon Cooks, Treylon Burks, or Kyron Williams. Josh, which one of these players would you be dropping?
It's probably Brandon Cooks. I like Brandon Cooks. I think he can be better. I mean, they're benching Kyle Allen's going to be the starter for the Texans going forward, right? So maybe that helps Cooks because he's had a pretty bad season so far. The upside with Kyron and Treylon Burks, I would have to keep on my bench. I don't want to start them this week, but I want to keep them on my bench. I would cut Brandon Cooks.
Joey, what do you think?
Tough to say. I'm cutting Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. It's a triple tough to say. I don't want to do it, but I'd cut Brandon Cooks out of these options as well. Scamper is saying, gross question, Curtis Samuel versus Atlanta or Jamar Chase at Tennessee in a possible decoy situation. So, Josh, I'm guessing Curtis Samuel's below that line for you, right?
It's that line, and Curtis Samuel's below it, even against the crappy. You want to start your wide receivers against the Falcons. Curtis Samuel's not reliable enough. He hasn't been that good with Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke has eyes for Terry McLaurin. All right, Terry McLaurin.
Love. Yeah, it's not the early season Curtis Samuel that we were seeing. Joey, which one of these would you be starting? Would you be plugging in Jamar Chase?
Yeah, if Chase is playing, I'm not. It's Chase. There's few people that I'll start over him.
I'm with you.
If you want 10 points, Curtis Samuel, I think is more of a guarantee for 9.5 fantasy points. But Jamar Chase upside. Gotta go with him.
You gotta chase it. I'm an upside chaser sometimes.
Chase it.
Jeff in here. What's up, Jeff? Said, would you guys flex Joshua Palmer, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Cordero Patterson, or George Pickens? Joey, where are you leaning on this one?
Because I don't know if Hollywood's playing, I'm gonna say Palmer. But if Hollywood plays, I would probably start Hollywood.
Josh, do you agree with Joey?
Hollywood, if he plays, and I completely agree with Joey. We're agreeing so much today. It's crazy.
Mike Williams is expected to miss this week, so I think Palmer is a perfectly good backup plan. Like, you are good to go with starting Josh Palmer as your backup plan.
And Patterson is close to Palmer, but Palmer has so much more upside.
Dane with another question for us. Wanted to know Richard White or Fournette this week. I'm assuming
freaking
Rashad White. Richard White is good friends with Greg. He's friends with Greg Everett.
Rashaad, right?
Yeah.
Did I spell that right?
I like it. It works out. That's one where
so many A's.
Give me the double vowels, not the double consonants, and I can spell that 10 times out of 10. So, Josh, would you be starting Rashad White or Leonard Fournette this week?
I said earlier that I want to temper my expectations with Rashad White. I don't think he's going to fully take over this running back role, but I think he is the guy for the Bucs, the preferred option. Fournette's dealing with an injury. I'd pretty easily go Rashad White over Leonard Fournette myself.
What about you, Joey?
Yeah,
I don't think Fournette's dead, though. I think you can start them both.
Not at all. 2 weeks now. Todd Bowles came out and said today we're going to play the running back with a hot hand. And if you've watched the Bucs games, Rashad White looks like he's shot out of a cannon, and Leonard Fournette looks sluggish. He's had some good plays, but Rashad White looks like he wants to be on that field, playing for the Buccaneers, trying to get them to the playoffs. And I don't know if Fournette looks the same. I want Rashad White.
Scott and you're saying, Josh,
Scott,
it is
man.
great to see you, man.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott.
We had a question.
It'd be great to see your name. How about I said great to see you too, but yeah.
Glad that you're in here, Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Come here now. Beach 89 wants to know who to start, Jalen Hurts or Dak this week. So Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott. Josh, which of these two quarterbacks would you be starting? Dak Prescott, as we talked about previously, playing the New York Giants, then Jalen Hurts against Green Bay.
You're not benching Jalen Hurts. Just Jalen Hurts is in your lineup. He's been amazing all year long, and it's not like he's had a bad game recently. You're not getting away from Jalen Hurts. You're not.
I get the question, though. I'm with you, Josh, but I understand because Dak does have a good matchup this week against the New York Giants. Where are you going, Joey?
Come here now. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to have a nice Thanksgiving with your family and not have to worry about it looking like your fantasy lineups. So
don't worry
play
about
Jalen
Thursday.
Hurts. Yeah. So don't worry about Thursday. Let Dak have his fun. But no, I'm starting Jalen Hurts. He has been phenomenal all year. I'm really glad. Earlier this offseason, I was really down on him and put a little image out there that he wasn't one of my top 10 quarterbacks and got roasted. And that was a good thing because it actually made me look at Jalen Hurts. And he has been phenomenal and can't wait to draft him next year. Very high.
He's been phenomenal.
Even the people that thought he was going to be phenomenal, he's surpassed everyone's expectations this year. Jalen Hurts is the guy.
Come here now, coming in with a follow-up question. Why does Joey remind me of a turtle? So Joey,
I do know the answer to this question because I haven't come out of my shell yet. So.
I thought it was just because you had a giant back.
I thought it was because you had a giant penis, like turtles.
Turtles?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a turtle expert.
And when I go to the beach, I take large dumps and bury it with my back legs.
And then they hatch many months
Come
later.
here now. He's got me. Sorry that I shit on your beach. Sorry about that.
Scott wanted to know the Dallas defense or the New England defense. So the Patriots going up against the Vikings. The Cowboys playing the Giants this Thanksgiving tomorrow.
It's tough.
So I think this is where I roll with the New England defense. Like the Chiefs matchup was so juicy against the Rams with the backup quarterback that I was willing to plug them in, but I'll roll New England out in this matchup. Josh, are we switching here?
See, like kind of like this is where I think I might go with the Dallas Cowboys just because I think the Dallas Cowboys defense is as good as the New England Patriots defense. So I think they're both top tier defenses. Dallas Cowboys are at home. New England Patriots are away. Dallas Cowboys, I think, have a better matchup. It's Dallas Cowboys for me.
Joey, are you agreeing? Would you go Cowboys or would you go New England?
I think the Dallas Cowboys have the best defense in football right now. I really do. It's so good. They just destroyed Kirk Cousins last week. And I know that's not much to say.
Greek yogurt.
I mean, didn't he beat the Eagles a couple weeks ago? He's a competent quarterback, and Dallas just shut him down.
The game was awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was thinking about the Bills game. Never mind.
Come here now on a
awesome game with the Eagles.
Tyler Boyd, Brandon Ayuk, Allen Robinson, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin need to pick 3 in a half PPR league. So there's a couple that are locks for me. Exactly. Mike Evans and Terry are locks. And then I'm rolling out Brandon Ayuk as my third one. Josh, who's your third?
Yeah, it's Brandon Ayuk. It's Brandon Ayuk. Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin are pretty easy for me.
Joey, I see you nodding up there. Do you agree?
Full agreement. Question though, guys. If Jamar Chase doesn't play, does Boyd move up?
No, he didn't play last week, and I thought Boyd had an amazing matchup. It's just Boyd's going to have good games from here on out. Jamar Chase in the lineup, Jamar Chase out of the lineup. I don't even know how to predict it. I would definitely rather start Brandon Ayuk, just more consistent lately and more upside, really.
Tyler Boyd, if this was a team where they have been exploited by slot wide receivers throughout this season, I might plug Tyler Boyd over Brandon Ayuk. That's what I'm looking for.
Tyler Boyd was a start of the week for me last week. He was playing with the worst slot receiver team in the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and did nothing. So it's like, but if it was like Tyler Boyd or Allen Robinson, now that's a good question, and I actually might go Tyler Boyd there. So
yeah, that's fair.
I don't hate Tyler Boyd.
It sounds like you do.
Don't trust him at all.
I get it. Matt in here said trade Chubb and Mostert and Deontay from Marquise Brown, Jeff Wilson, and Gibson. So another Chubb trade in here. Joey, I see you shaking your head. Is this a no for you?
There's a lot of players in this trade. Chubb for me is the best. Yeah, I'm going to stick with what I have. I would see maybe if you can move Mostert and Deontay for
Jeff Wilson.
There's no way you'll be able to. Yeah, absolutely. See if you can move Mostert and Deontay for Jeff Wilson. Would I even do that?
I would do that.
I would do that.
What about you, Josh?
I would do that, and I agree with what you said. This is kind of the trade where Chubb is just so much more valuable than anyone else in the trade for me that I would want Chubb here. Even though I like Marquise Brown still. I think he's going to be good when he comes back.
George has got a question for us that I asked this morning for y'all to choose between Mike Evans and Dameon Pierce in half PPR. And we said Pierce on the morning show. And then so forgot to mention Jamal Williams as an option. Does that change anything? So Jamal Williams, the Lions, going up against the Bills defense, which is a pretty tough matchup. Josh, of those three, Mike Evans, Dameon Pierce, Jamal Williams in a half PPR league, who you starting?
So who are the Lions playing again?
The Bills.
We've been talking about it a lot. The Bills. It sounds like you guys are going a different direction than me. I'm going to go with Mike Evans.
Mike Evans against the Browns.
Yeah. I am going to go with Mike Evans against the Browns. I know he's been disappointing lately. Guys, he's Mike Evans. Dameon Pierce was disappointing last week. That's a better matchup. I'm going to go with Mike Evans for sure.
Mike Evans for sure. Joey, does Jamal Williams change this for you? Are you rolling Pierce or are you rolling Mike Evans or Jamal Williams?
I was kicked off the morning show this week. I'm no longer allowed or welcomed on the show. I would also say Mike Evans, and not because I'm spiteful, but just because that's who I think I would play between the two.
Man, this is tough. I think I'll roll Dameon Pierce out there. I think I'll roll Dameon Pierce.
Good that you're not going to backtrack on what you said this morning.
No, I'm going to
show that I'm no longer allowed on.
You're allowed.
No, I'm not apparently.
Well, we'll talk to Coop, Joey. We'll talk to him. Ryan said, should I trade Montgomery for Patterson and Devonta Smith? So David Montgomery for Patterson, Devonta Smith. I'm not making this move. Patterson is an asset that I'm not trying to acquire right now. And then Devonta Smith's not enough to close that gap for Montgomery. I think I saw a follow-up from Ryan in here that might change it. Yeah. Or would you do it if it's Pacheco instead of Patterson? So let's talk about it that way. If it is Montgomery for Pacheco and Devonta Smith. Josh, you making that move?
No, I'm not making the move either way. I think I'd rather have David Montgomery. So it's actually really close. So I'd rather have David Montgomery over Patterson, but it doesn't sound like I'm quite as far between them as you, but I'd 100% rather have Montgomery. Devonta Smith, I like Devonta Smith. I just think David Montgomery is going to be a 20-touch guy on average the rest of the season, pretty much. So I lean David Montgomery.
It's hard to trade away David Montgomery right now with Khalil Herbert on the IR. So I think I'm leaning Montgomery. I'm leaning on that side, even with Pacheco. Joey, what about you?
I think the overall value is actually on the Devonta Smith and Patterson side.
If I need the wide receiver, let's say that's why I'm trying to make this trade, I am making this trade.
Yeah.
Pacheco is enough for me to let Montgomery go.
Enough for you to let Montgomery go.
He could be a 12-touch guy a week now. Not 12.
You're just trying to steal my David Montgomery take?
No.
Guys, let's hit one more of these. I know we're approaching the end right here. And everyone listening, thank you so much for coming in. I'm throwing a link to our Discord in the chat. So if you have more questions that we did not get to today, go ahead and join our Discord. Throw them in the Fantasy Questions channel. We would be happy to get to those questions. Strong Style Ninja coming in saying happy Thanksgiving and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Strong Style, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us.
I have something to say to you after this question, Strong Style.
We appreciate it. Strong Style said Cousins or Fields this week. So Fields iffy on if they're playing.
It's the decision in the world for me. Fields plays, you play him. If he doesn't, you play Cousins.
You agree, Joey?
Absolutely.
I'm doing the exact same thing. And Joey, you said you had something to say to Strong Style?
Yeah, Strong Style, you dropped something in the chat and it caught me by surprise the other day. You said Omega Osprey at Wrestle Kingdom 17. And I thought you were pulling my leg. I have never been more excited for a wrestling match in probably the last 3 years. So thanks for letting me know about that, Strong Style.
Hey, shout out Strong Style. Jalen, you're saying, Josh, we're listening on the car speakers. Rosie was wondering if you could tell her what she is.
Rosie, you're such a dog. You're a dog. Hey, you're a dog, Rusty. You're such a dog. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Rusty.
Oh, you know her ears perked up right now. And then JL in here with the all-important note saying, if you aren't already, guys, go follow Josh on Twitter for more of that dank fantasy advice. He's on Twitter at twitter.com/Josh Fewster. So at Josh Fewster on Twitter. It's easy to remember. It's his name.
Yeah.
Truly go and follow our friend Josh over on Twitter. He's putting out fire fantasy content all
Take away JL's dumb comment real fast. Yeah, right here. I love you, JL. I do have some dank stuff going on my Twitter.
It's so dank. Damien here saying, heart you guys. All you guys.
Trade Teagan for Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's a good question. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown. I bet you a lot of people would disagree. I'm just saying. I'm all in on Amon-Ra.
Josh couldn't help it. Had to sneak one more in there. Joey, are you going Amon-Ra or T. Higgins?
That's a close one, though. Yeah. That's really close.
I would go Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And I'll go
really tough.
Headed over the edge for me.
I'll go T. Higgins.
Yeah.
I'll go T. Higgins. Cool. It's not an anti-Amon-Ra take. It's just
pro
T. Higgins take. They're both going to be great guys.
Wide receivers. Yeah. So.
Truly. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. Enjoy your Thanksgiving holidays. Good luck in your fantasy matchups. And truly, if you're not doing so already, go follow Josh on Twitter at Josh Fewster. We will be live tomorrow morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show on Thanksgiving and the day after. So come hang out with us there. We'll answer some more of your questions on that show if we don't get to them here or in our Discord. Until tomorrow, though, we are out of here. Adios, everyone. Enjoy your holidays. See you on another time.
Pretty much fantasy fun.
Yes!
You said it.